Yeah, yeah, space-like. Yeah.
This seems like freedom, just like experience, is its own source. In other words, yesterday I sat on the balcony. I watched the leaf fall in the breeze. So I thought, what a wonderful experience. But then I said, I am not really in that experience. The experience is its own source. In other words, the experience experiences itself. And so, the same thing would be with freedom. So, because if I really examine the experience, I am not in there.
Depends what you mean by I. Depends what you mean by I. Is something that knows the experience. Not a thing.
The experience itself knows the experience.
Right. You could put it this way. You could say that I know this experience, but I am not separate from the experience. In other words, experience is intimately made out of myself. So I'm in a way experiencing myself. But it's a slightly different wording from saying the experience is experiencing itself.
But what I mean by that is the experience itself is its own source.
It depends what you mean by experience. What you're pointing to when you say experience.
I'm pointing to what I felt when I looked at, look at this experience. The leaves falling 50 degrees, 90, 80 degrees.
Yes, yes.
Blah, blah. This experience stands alone. It doesn't, me or I am not in this experience.
Yes. So it sounds like you're...
The experience is all of it. So it comes to mind when he said freedom. It's this, to me, with the freedom, well, it all refers back to consciousness, of course, but the freedom too, it's its own self, its own source. If I say I experience, well then certainly I and the experiences is one. That is the experiencer and the experienced is one.
Yes, yes, yes. So in what we refer to as experience, we don't need to go far. Right here, right now, we can refer to this as an experience. When the mind is completely still, there is no one, there is no body, there is no personal entity, no personal impression. There is just the experience. This experience when you examine this experience from that place of quiet mind, you will notice that this experience is actually, it's a knowingness, let's say. It's a knowingness. It's an aware presence. It's an aware presence. You will find that this experience is actually it is consciousness.
It is
consciousness. It is consciousness. So yes, there is like the quieting of the mind, a moment of just pure presence, and there is a noticing that there is no person, there are no borders, and then there is the understanding, the revelation that it is all consciousness. It is all consciousness. Taking on, let's say, the form of this perception or a thought or bodily sensation. Yes? But it returns, it points to consciousness. It refers to consciousness. So yes, the perceived, the experience is not separate from the perceiver. But the reality of the perceived, of the experience, is consciousness. Yes. And so, yes. So the reality of the experience, of the perception, of the sensation, whatever arises, is consciousness. But consciousness does not arise. See? Does not arise. Yeah? So the qualities that appear do not affect consciousness. They're like your dream. They're like the moisture, the steam takes on various shapes. It can take the various shapes, or smoke takes on various shapes, as it's arising. But it doesn't affect the fact that it's smoke. Or a fire. You're looking at a fire. It takes on all sorts of shapes. You might see the face of. You might see waves. You might see a face of somebody. Whatever. But it's no matter what impressions, what images, what perceptions appear in the flames, it doesn't affect the fire. So there is a recognition that yes, there is no one. It's all experience, but then it's all consciousness. And yes, the freedom, it's consciousness. Consciousness, one of the core qualities of consciousness is freedom. And peace, transparency, wisdom, intelligence, compassion, love. All of these are qualities of consciousness.
Would it be correct then to say that all this flower right here is its own source? And because consciousness is the source, is also, thing has its
you could say
source
that
in consciousness.
yes, right. Everything has its source in consciousness. Yes, but to say that the flower is its own source, you could say that, and you could, as long as you say everything is its own source, and there is just one source. So we're back to everything is its own source. The leaves are our own source. The tree is its own source. Every perception, every thought is its own source. But it all refers to one source, which is consciousness, because there's only one source, right? So why trouble yourself with saying that the leaves are their own source and the tree is its own source? Might as well go straight to the conclusion that there is just one source, that everything refers to that one source, which is consciousness. But I understand what you're saying about the flowers are their own source, the wood is its own source, every thought is its own source, every bodily sensation is its own source, etc. But given that there is one source,
right,
it all refers to consciousness. So you could go right to it, that all experiences, all thoughts, perceptions, sensations refer to the one reality.
is all thoughts inherently non-dual?
there is the a thought, well, the me thought that feeds onto and maintains, when it's not examined, the impression of duality. So the thought that, oh, I am smarter than my brother, has in it both the expression of duality, me versus him, the comparison, and also it also refers to there is a bodily reverberation of that thought, maybe a certain arrogance, or that's registers. There is a me. There is that me quality in the thought is also registered in the body. And the register, there is a whole structure of me thoughts. We all know them, right? Too well. We know these thoughts too well, and they inhabit the body, and at gross places, at very blatant places, such as at the chest or the face, and sometimes the neck, the heart area, plexus solaire, but also at the very subtle places, such as the vibration in your hand, or the vibration.
Isn't all thought, in essence, a me thought?
No, not at all.
I say, this is beautiful.
Beautiful. This is beautiful. I love it. There's no me thought in that. So celebratory thoughts are not me thoughts. Like, it's so lovely to be here. It's such good friends. There is no me and you in it. It's happiness. It's an expression of beauty. It's an expression that comes through the body-mind medium, but it's coming from consciousness. Consciousness saying, wow, I love the contemplation of consciousness. I love presence. I love beauty. I love friendship.
So consciousness itself also expresses itself through thought.
Absolutely. So like an expression that comes, from consciousness can be, for example, Rumi's poetry, Rumi's poems, or beautiful Hafiz's poetry, or some beautiful paintings, or some celebration of an architectural or creative work that's inspirational musical compositions that are sort of like direct downloads. They don't go through the me structure. They don't go through the I thought. They're just coming through you in a way, not from the person, through the body-mind.
Is that also true regarding feelings, sensations, bodily sensations, for example?
Bodily sensations, I'm talking about non-psychologically stained or non-psychologically infected bodily sensations are belong to at the bodily realm, at the phenomenal realm, to basically safeguard the body, maintain the body, take care of the body as best as possible. So that bodily sensations, it tells you, okay, I need to check on that with the doctor, or I need to change my diet, or I need to sleep a little bit more, etc. So they operate at that level, but they don't have like a psychological impetus to them. The psychological impetus that causes dis-ease in the body, that accelerates the disease in the body, because the body is decaying. In a certain sense, it is. I mean, at the cellular level, decaying meaning it's is transforming. You know, I like the word decaying, but so then there are psychological dimensions to the body, bodily sensations that they're like, like you can poison somebody by dropping just one drop of in their soup every day, like a teeny tiny drop of cyanide or whatever, and after 6 months they develop like really, they start getting sick, and within 8 months, their the body dies. In a way, the me impression at the body level is like that. It's a daily dose of infectious, daily dose of teeny tiny poisoning. That's the overall me sense, and then there are me emotions, where they're putting a drop of cyanide in somebody. Suddenly they drop the bottle, and you've got a teaspoon of it, and anger and jealousy and rage, and there is that, and the more you have of that, the faster you gotta hit that the go, time to go.
It's very good. I remember it next time I
Yeah.
I got this one.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well,